Coming up, I'm going to share what Americans don't understand about the famous classic phrase, the pursuit of happiness. And then Samsung is making people work 6 days a week? What? We'll discuss it. Let's go. Helping you win at work. I'm Ken. This is the Ken Coleman Show. You are a pro, and so that means you better be winning. And this is playing for keeps now, folks, and I want you to get in the zone. I want you to be in the seat that you're supposed to be in so that you can not only find and do the work you're wired to do, but you can live the life that you desire to live. And we're going to take on a classic phrase introduced to most Americans in the document we call the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson pins in the first sentence. We know how it goes if we can remember back to elementary school: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Okay, so I want to take on that phrase because I think the pursuit of happiness is misunderstood. And I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm going to try to make this as general as I can, but I told Alex, the producer, I said, this is a little bit of a deep dive today. And if you'll just give me 2 minutes to go deep, I'm going to pull us back out of the depths, and it's going to be very practical to you accomplishing what you want to accomplish in your life. But hang with me. All right, so the phrase, the pursuit of happiness, Thomas Jefferson doesn't come up with it. It's not his. It's not a turn of phrase that he gets while sitting in Philadelphia penning the Declaration of Independence. It was a phrase that had been used hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years earlier, a concept that goes very, very deep. And we're talking about big names, Stoics, philosophers, thinkers from all walks of life, people like Aristotle, Cicero, Montesquieu, John Locke, just to name a few. And I mean just to name a few. This concept of the pursuit of happiness had been written long before Thomas Jefferson penned it. So I'm reading this book right now entitled The Pursuit of Happiness. For those of you who are nerds and you really want to do a deep dive, this is a fabulous book. It's called The Pursuit of Happiness. I'm reading it, and the author does a tremendous job of showing how America's forefathers were influenced by this concept. Franklin, John Adams, Jefferson, and the list goes on. And it goes back to the writings of some of these classical thinkers. Now there's the kind of the nerdy part, kind of going down into that. Let me pull it back up. So the pursuit of happiness, the phrase, was a way of describing the drive, the ambition, and the goal of the great classical thinkers, and thus our own American founding fathers. And the pursuit of happiness had nothing to do with money. It had nothing to do with stuff. It actually was all about self. In other words, the better person that you become, the better life you will get and ultimately lead. It was about virtue. The word virtue comes up over and over and over in this deep dive, this book that I'm reading, The Pursuit of Happiness. The pursuit of happiness was essentially, how can I keep learning, keep getting better, to essentially try to become the most enlightened version of myself, and we can just dumb that down to the best version of myself. Can I keep growing, becoming more virtuous? And by the way, virtue wasn't related solely to moral behavior. Virtue, broad brush here, with these great thinkers and our founding fathers, was not to just be a good person, but to also do good things. And it trickled down into their schedule. If you've ever read anything about Ben Franklin, and I highly recommend you read Walter Isaacson's biography on Ben Franklin, because Ben Franklin was the first personal growth junkie in America, in my opinion. He really was. He had a meticulous schedule. He journaled, constantly learning, and as a result became the first great American inventor. So I want to read something to you from this book, and then we're going to apply it to practical life every day. This is just a passage. A life whose pursuings and avoidings are governed, by these virtues, and they were 4 grand virtues. Okay. Prudence, temperance, fortitude, and justice. And this is by one of the authors that they cite, James Harris. He was an English politician. And he had been studying the Stoic philosophers from Greece. And this is what he says. I'll read it again. A life whose pursuing, so whose aim, whose intentionality, listen, and then discipline, avoidings, we would call that discipline, are governed by these virtues. Here they are: prudence, temperance, fortitude, and justice. So in other words, wisdom, be smart, make good decisions. Prudence, temperance, I'm going to be patient, kind, hospitable. Fortitude, that's resilient. I got to have some grit if we use modern language. And then justice. Be fair and do what's right. And this, he says, our happiness is dependent not on success, but on the aim towards those virtues. Because, and this is what he says, as any sportsman will tell you, the joy is in the pursuit. And that's true. That's true for any of us who've ever pursued getting better in a sport. Maybe running a marathon. You get done with the marathon and you realize, okay, we got somebody, yeah, and we got a runner out in the lobby, and she's giving me the yeah. And if I were to interview this young lady, she would absolutely verify that. Yes, she wants to run a certain time. Maybe she's going for a personal record. But when she looks back on the entire process, the joy will be in the training and in the process of becoming better. Or else the one race is just empty. It's the process of becoming, not the act of achieving. And this is what, if you really understand success, and let me make this very personal. I'm blessed to be a 2-time best-selling author. When I first became a best-selling author, it happened to hit number 1 on the list, and I wasn't expecting it to do that. And I remember being overwhelmed and excited and elated, and I was receiving texts and emails when the news came in that morning, and I was on a book tour, and I remember calling my wife, and we had a sweet moment of gratitude, and it was emotional, and it was a big deal. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to try to in any way minimize it. However, it was 30 minutes later when I first realized, oh, okay, so all the celebration and the gratitude and the everybody saying nice things, that's over. I'm still Ken. I still have 3 kids. I still have a wife. I got 2 dogs. And it was not about becoming a number 1 best-selling author in that moment. What I was thinking of in the celebration, and very much celebrating and grateful, I was thinking about the journey to that point. And that's just how we all are. Yes, there was the initial woohoo, and then it was like, what really mattered to me was all the years and years and years of sacrificing, struggling, and who I became, not who I am referred to. I'm not a number 1 best-selling author. Sure, people can introduce me that way. That's not who I am. I'm Ken Coleman. There's a whole lot more. And so it's the process. So here's why I share this. The pursuit of happiness has been turned into the pursuit of stuff, the pursuit of status, the pursuit of success, the pursuit of money. And that's not what it's about. You can argue with me. You're wrong, because this is what the people who came up with the phrase meant it to be. And I think the lesson for us today is this. True happiness is a sense of peace, a sense of contentment that I am still becoming better. And it is the process of becoming better that makes me happy. The pursuit is getting better, more virtue, better person, better in my relationships, better at my job, better in the way I exercise, better in the way I eat, better in the way I love, better in the way I do. You just keep going. And it is that pursuit to be better, not to compete, although competition's fine, but only to the extent that you are becoming better because of competition. And so if we get that right, the pursuit of happiness is not an American ideal. It's not the American dream. The pursuit of happiness is the pursuit of being the best version of us. I hope that challenges you today, because here's what I can tell you. If that's your pursuit, then the status and the stuff and the money, enough of that will come. And it will be enough. Because your pursuit is not more of that. Your pursuit is to be the best version of you. That should be our aim. And that's happiness. That's a life well lived, and a life that makes the impact it's supposed to make. This is The Ken Coleman Show. We'll be right back. Hey, high school seniors and parents of high school seniors, it's almost graduation time. And if you're not sure about next steps, I want you to listen to this. Coding skills are essential in today's workforce. And my friends at Bethel Tech can help you start a new career really fast and do it cheap. It only takes 9 months to complete a Bethel Tech course in UI, UX design, full stack development, data science, or cybersecurity. And your young person can get over 1,000 hours of experience in a collaborative environment and then get placed. The average starting salary for a junior developer is $66,000. And the field is projected to grow by 22% over the next 5 years. Software development is a career with an enormously bright future. And right now, Bethel Tech is offering you 10% off if you watch or listen to The Ken Coleman Show and you pay cash. So go to betheltech.net/Ken Coleman, betheltech.net/Ken Coleman right now for details. Terms and conditions do apply. Hey, if you're using what you do best to do work that you really enjoy, and that work produces results that you can look at and say, that connects to who I am, there are values in those results. Let me tell you something. You are a very happy person. And a lot of people say, Ken, I get that, but how do I figure that out? And it's just self-awareness. And we've created, I believe, one of the most effective self-awareness tools that exists. It is the Get Clear Assessment, Find the Work You're Wired to Do, the little book right there on my desk. It is now out. Pre-sale is over. It is out. You can get it at kencoleman.com. What is it? In 20 seconds or less. It is a self-awareness tool that measures what you do best, what you love to do most, and the results that motivate you. And if you spend 75% of your day doing that, you are going to not only be happy, you are going to make more money. And the more money you have, the more freedom you have to live the life that you want. So you can read it in about 45 minutes, but the book is to be read after you take the Get Clear assessment and you see your results. So essentially answers these questions: who I am, what I want to do, where I can do it, and how I get there. That's what it does. 4 big questions answered very quickly, very effectively. KenColeman.com, great gift for your graduate as well. All right, let's get into the news. Couple items I want to get to. I want to get to a couple stories here. First headline: Samsung has recently reported a dip in smartphone sales. By the way, Apple is saying this as well. Something's going on. I suspect that costs are really, really high as we see inflation now spike back up. And I suspect that a lot of people are going, you know what? I don't need to get a new phone every 2 years. I'm going to hold on to my Samsung whatever, or my Apple 13. I don't need a 15 or whatever it is. You can tell I spend a lot of time on this. I have no idea what the latest models are. Thank God for Ramsey Solutions. They pay for my phone and they give me a phone when I'm supposed to get a phone. And then my wife, thank God, buys all the phones for our house. So I'm blissfully unaware of whatever the latest model is. Judge me if you choose. Well, as a result of some dip in profits, we've been reporting on 4-day work weeks coming to America. And by the way, the 4-day work weeks are here. And I think you're going to continue to see this as a major trend. Samsung, which it's notable that it's a South Korean business. And they've decided to make their executives now effective immediately work 6 days a week. They get to choose whether they're coming in on a Saturday or a Sunday. Employees under the executive level will continue to work for 5 days a week. So it's only the top brass. But makes you wonder, are they going to make this mandatory for everybody else? Now, South Korea is known for its intense work culture. The average worker spent 1,901 hours at their job in 2022. Last year, the country of South Korea, the government pushed for a plan that would require a 69-hour work week. I don't know why that's so funny to me. You know what I should have thought of? I should have done some research to see what cigarette consumption is in South Korea. Anybody want to try to pull that up? I got a hunch. There's a lot of cigarettes or energy drink consumption. I'm not kidding. I could be wrong, but it would be a fun correlation. Let's see if our crack staff can find anything on that. Don't you just see a 69-hour work week with a lot of smoking? 30% of men smoke cigarettes? Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, there you go. 69 hours. Wow. So, point is that they're reintroducing regular Saturday meetings for all their executives. By the way, the 69-hour work week, I should come back to that subject. I moved on too quickly. It didn't make it because young workers, so the young generation in South Korea and the labor unions fought it. So, wow. Just the idea. By the way, could you imagine just for a moment the United States government, Joe Biden walks out and promotes a 69-hour work week? Could you imagine TikTok would melt? I mean, I know TikTok's under it right now, and they've been banned unless they sell it, and then they're going to fight it in the courts. But if you want to get rid of TikTok for all these this is brilliant. This is great advice. I didn't even think about this because this is going to be challenged legally. TikTok's going to fight this, so who knows? But if the American politicians want to get rid of TikTok, all they got to do is propose something like this, a 70-hour work week. And the young people of America who are of working age will take to TikTok so much and so aggressively, the entire platform will combust. It will blow up. Am I right? It can kind of be fun. Because as a parent, I would love to blow up TikTok. Two, the videos would be fun to watch. The hysteria would reach a level that we've never seen in this country. I kid you not. I'm having a little fun with this, but nonetheless, here's why I share this story. This is being put out as a salacious headline because people look at stuff like this. But here's what's going on underneath this. In certain cultures, it's normal. But even in the United States, what's really going on here by Samsung is they are valuing results over people. That's all this is. Samsung's going, we're taking a dip. Profits are down. We got to figure it out. So we're going to take our leaders and we're going to require them to come in 6 days a week. So you got to assume this is all the way up to CEO level. And I want to look at the CEO and go, okay, you think that working your executives extra hard is going to somehow be the best solve for this? This stuff trickles down. This article is just really simple, but let me tell you what's going on behind the scenes because I just know human behavior. What's going on behind the scenes is there will be employees who will feel pressured underneath these executives to come in and work 6 days a week, and you're going to fry everybody. And this is dangerous. There are times where people have to step up and work a little harder and work a little longer. I acknowledge that. This is not a crisis. But again, this is a philosophy that says our results matter more than our people, as opposed to going, our people will always matter more than our results. Now let's figure out the best way to fix our results and still honor and value our people and not work them to the nub. That's the point. Interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. Okay, and I want to pivot really quick. I do want to cover this up. In the news right now, one of the most epic American company failures is Boeing. Just a quick update on this. For those of you who don't pay any attention to the news, it starts back in October of 2018. A Lion Air 737 MAX aircraft crashes, kills 189 passengers. Then, an Ethiopian Airlines 737 MAX plane in March 2019 crashes, killing all 157. After that, the FAA grounded the 737 after that. So Boeing goes, we got to figure this out. So in September, they put a board in place. The board set up a permanent safety committee overseeing aircraft development, manufacturing, and operation. Seems like a good idea. In October 2019, they then fired Kevin McAllister, the president and CEO. Then in December, the president and CEO was fired. Problem solved, right? Nope. Let's go to August 2023. Boeing found that a supplier was not properly drilling holes on the bulkhead of the 737 MAX. And then in November, an engine failed on a brand new United Airlines 737 MAX at 37,000 feet. Are you freaking kidding me? I just flew in from Dallas last night. By the way, related to this, Southwest, due to this Boeing issue, is dropping 4 cities because they're concerned about the craft. Boeing's in trouble, folks. But here's why I'm sharing the story. This is a leadership problem. They did all this stuff. They fired everybody. They came on a safety committee, but nothing changed. This is a quote from Joe Jacobson, an aviation safety expert who worked for more than 25 years at the FAA and then a decade at Boeing. This is what he said. There's a lot of areas where things don't seem to be put together right in the first place. The theme is shortcuts everywhere, not doing the job right. So you can change people at the top all you want to. If the culture doesn't change, if the processes doesn't change, people are going to die. Now, this is a stark leadership lesson, but a leadership lesson nonetheless. Listen, how freaking hard is it? I don't know anything about airplanes. You could install me, and I promise you, I would have enough folders and papers that I could read, and it would get me to the place where the bolts are going in, where the problem is, and I'm looking at this place, and I'm having an all-hands-on-deck meeting. And I'm going to go, no one in here is going to be fired. Everyone is protected. This is confidential. Let's start talking. Why is this happening? You are the people that are bolting these planes together. What's going on? And where is it going on? And let's get some people in there who want to do it right. This is scary stuff, folks, and it's a leadership issue. Simply put, wow. Let's keep an eye on this. This could be the beginning of the end for Boeing. Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show, where we help you win at work so that you can win in your life. If you're enjoying the program, I would love for you to help us by spreading the word. You can do that by giving us a thumbs up on any video you're watching here on the YouTube. And if you're listening via the podcast, give us a follow and a 5-star review. Share on both platforms. we'd be very grateful. All right, time to coach some folks up here. Let's get to Kat, who joins us in Charlotte, North Carolina. Kat, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thank you so much for answering my question.
You bet. What's going on?
So I'll try to make this as quick as possible. For the last 5 years, I've worked in content marketing and business management. Before that, I worked in accounting, and I was a senior accountant, staff accountant, and also an AP team leader. I did that for 12 years. That's actually where my main background is in. But I've been working, like I said, in content marketing for the last 5 years. I just lost my job last month.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And thank you. Or I'm sorry, that last week. But anyways, it's kind of, I've seen it kind of coming. The company has been struggling for the past year. So I've actually been actively looking for the past 6 months, trying to get back into accounting. But I seem to be hitting a kind of brick wall. So my question is, how do I best transition back into a field that I've been out of for a few years?
What field is that?
Into accounting. So I want to get back into either a staff accountant or a senior accountant role.
I got you. I'm sorry. So, okay. So you want to get back into accounting. You weren't in the accounting role.
Correct. The last 5 years, it was been content marketing.
Content marketing. Got that. Okay. I'm up to speed. Sorry about that. All right. Well, you've not been out like decades. So my first question, if I was you, and I'm answering this question, how do I get back into marketing? First thing I'm going to look at is, are there any new qualifications that I need to get? In other words, over the last 5 years, are there some certifications that are required now or advantageous to get that you don't have? Has the industry changed in any kind of sizable way that would require, again, you to brush up on some skills? And the only reason I'm asking these questions is because I want to know, am I qualified? Am I ready to step back in? Because the 5 years may not have been that big of a deal at all if you've got previous experience. So what do you know about that?
As far as qualifications, the only thing that I seem to be missing is the latest software. So NetSuite is probably the biggest one that I see constantly being in these job postings.
Is there a class or a course you can take that then says I'm certified in NetSuite?
I have not found any, but I'll dig further into it. That is a good option to try to get certified in it. Yeah,
just dig, and if somebody says it would certainly be great to get back in if you had a certification in it, they may not even offer it, but this is the idea. And so you just want to go, all right, do I have everything in the tool belt that I need? You got a lot of it. And I think you start there. That does two things for you. One, it makes sure we're actually qualified. And two, it gives you some confidence. Because I think the nature of this question is you're not confident. You're like, man, I've been out for 5 years. Has that world left me behind? And I think that's a reasonable question. I don't think that's what's going on. Do you?
I mean, that could very well be it. Maybe I'm just kind of a bundle of nerves when I'm in the interviews. Because I've had several interviews. It just hasn't. No offers yet. What's
causing the nerves?
I guess because, like you said, I've been out of it for 5 years, and can I really still do this?
Yeah.
I'm, not a spring chicken anymore.
Well, stop it. What does that mean? How old are you?
Almost 42.
Oh my gosh! Please. I turn 50 in a couple months. I don't want to hear you talking about not being a spring chicken. What does that make me, a geezer? Come on.
No, not at all.
No. Let me just tell you something. Age is a non-factor. I think the tool belt is the issue. We figure that out. We get whatever tools we don't have. That's going to help your confidence. I also think that you've got to be working the proximity principle. Are you aware of this book? Have you read this book?
Yes, I have. And I've been reaching out, trying to, shake that connection tree.
Good.
It's just, I live in a different state than I used to.
Yeah.
So it's a little more difficult. But I actually have someone here in North Carolina that is trying to get me some leads on some jobs. So
good.
Yes, I am.
Good.
I am aware of it.
Hang with it. Here's the other thing I want you to do, though. The proximity principle isn't just for getting the job. It's also for getting the knowledge. And with that knowledge comes confidence. The more you know, the more confident you are. The less we know, the less confident we are. It's just an absolute fact. The fear of the unknown is, I think, the greatest fear. certainly as it relates to professional progress. It just can lock us up. But the more we know, so if we go, I don't know this, I don't know this, I don't know this. That's why I started off with, are you aware of what qualifications you don't have? Because again, the minute that you dig into this after this phone call and you find out, oh, I need this and I need this, your fear factor subsides because you go, oh, okay. I now know what it takes. And let me tell you something, depending on the type of accounting work you do or want to do, I would guess you were going to be in fairly high demand if you just stay with it long enough. Am I right?
I believe so, yes.
What kind of accounting do you want to do?
Mainly corporate accounting. That's where my background's in.
Yeah.
But I've done some nonprofit accounting as well.
Yeah.
But I'm mainly focusing on corporate accounting again.
Yeah. So here's the deal. I think you stay with this and you work your relationships. It's going to pop for you. It's going to pop. And you just have to stay with it. But you've got to get your confidence up to perform in these interviews. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Relentless preparation leads to reflexive performance. In other words, the more prepared I am, when the nerves hit, I'm going to be able to pull the answers. So really preparing, take your preparation for an interview very, very seriously. And then the more you can tie a relationship to that interview and they already think good things about you. And I want you to also, one other thing, I want you to flip your mindset. When you asked me the question, the audience heard it and I heard it. You said, well, I haven't been in accounting for 5 years. You got to flip that narrative because that's going to come across. How long were you in accounting?
12.
Boom. That's the flip. So you should have called me and said, Ken, I was in accounting for 12 years. I'd like to get back in. What do you think? Not, I've been out of accounting for 5 years. You see the flip?
Yes, I do.
It's massive, by the way. This is not like, this is not like new age stuff. Like this is real psychology stuff here. When we focus on the positive, it changes everything. And the positive is you want to go back into accounting and you were in accounting for 12 years. Man, I'd even dress that up in interviews and go, I was in accounting for over a decade. I like the way that sounds better.
Okay.
You even laughed. It sounds better, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So we don't say in the interview, well, it's been 5 years since I've been in accounting. No. I was in accounting for over a decade. Thank you very much. Right? There's a little bit of swagger. So, hey, I really appreciate you. Thank you for the call. It's going to be okay. Head down, change your mindset, figure out what you need to do to get qualified, and go, go, go.
Thanks for listening to The Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.